All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And peace, love, and salutation to all you Akim that's pushing this truth and true sincerity. And as you see here, is the United States debt clock at usdebtclock.org. And as you see, the debt is 37 trillion 486 million 8 million, and then the numbers just keep going up. The average debt per citizen is $109,000. And I'm just going to do a lesson on how this place cannot be healed. And many brothers did countless lessons on an empire only lasts 250 years. And we're coming up on that here in Babylon the Great. So I just wanted to show that right quick. All right, and I got an article. So let's go to Jeremiah 51 and verse 7. Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, and this is all prophetic. All right, Babylon means confusion. This is Babylon the Great, as mentioned in Revelation, the 17th chapter. You know, ancient Babylon is alive and kicking it in modern day Iraq. You know, Iraq is not a golden cup in the Lord's hand. Modern day Iraq is not a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The ways of the West, namely Babylon the Great, the Estados Unidos, have made the earth drunken with the philosophies. I'm thinking about one of them, which we're going to go do a lesson on. You know, you got to be careful with your speech. One about feminism. That's made the earth drunken. Women's rights. That's made the earth drunken. Democracy. The money system. You know, the loss of morals. Babylon the Great has done that to the world. The nations have drunken over wine, these philosophies. Therefore, the nations are mad. It's like when you drink bad liquor and then you get a bad headache. You're like, why am I doing that? These other nations are drinking up the philosophies of Babylon the Great, but now they're sobering up. You know how you drink a little bit too much and you wake up with that hangover and you don't wake up till 12 o'clock and you feel like you just wasted your whole day. That's what these other nations are doing. They're starting to wake up to the fact that Babylon has led them astray. And it's that whore that is talking about in Revelation 17. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her. Pain, if so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go up everyone into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up to the skies. So this place cannot be healed. You know, right now it's Monday Night Football. You know, you got the illusion that everything is cool. It's football season. You know, the Raiders are playing the Raiders are playing the Los Angeles Chargers right now on Monday Night Football. And the average Babylonian, you know, they probably have to drive through right now, or, you know, doing, getting into some entertainment or getting ready to work for the next day. But in reality, this place cannot be healed. And yet the judgment of Babylon the Great has reached up to the point where the Lord is going to send his only begotten Son to deliver judgment and deliver his elect. So I wanted to get into, before the destruction happens, which this is going into, you're going to see this place crumble. And one of the avenues, that's going to make it crumble, according, to this debt clock, is financial doom and gloom. Okay, 37 trillion 486 million, 20 million, and then the numbers keep going on and on and on. So I got this article from Zero Hedge. It is a crisis. A whopping 67% of American workers are living paycheck to paycheck in 2025. And, these people, they like to be in that fake it till you make it spirit. Everybody wants to show out. Everybody wants to act like they got it going on. Everybody's through out here. All right? Everybody wants to act like they got it going on. They got the money. But these people are finished. And you can see that these people, man, they're miserable, man. Let's get Proverbs 29 and 2. Proverbs 29 and verse 2. And it says, when the righteous are in authority, there's nobody righteous in authority right now. So that's got to talk about future tense. The world to come for Jacob, which are the Israelites. The people rejoice. There's no rejoicing out here. Especially after what happened last week with that guy in Utah. Nobody's rejoicing. They're just coping. Like I said, you got this Monday night football game. People are just going to the game to cope. They're going to the liquor store to cope. They're going to these restaurants and stuff they face to cope. And they don't have enough money to do that because they're living paycheck to paycheck. A lot of decisions got to be made. Okay? Continuing on, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. These people are mourning. Like I said, they're trying to find coping mechanisms, but it's not going to work. The majority of these Americans are in therapy. So it says when 2/3, ain't that funny? When 2/3 of all workers in your entire country are just barely scrapping from month to month, you have got a major crisis on your hands. For a long time, our standard of living has been going down and the middle class has been shrinking. Yeah, especially after the boogeyman of 2020 that had everybody, in their homes and everybody scared over, you already know. But in recent years, these two trends have accelerated. We have now reached a point where it takes $5 million to live the American dream for a lifetime. And it's continuing to going up. I think 2 years ago it was $1 million. Needless to say, the vast majority of the population will never come close to making that sort of money. But most Americans continue to strive to live a middle-class lifestyle. And as a result, most people are teetering on the brink of financial disaster in this day and age. Let me get a precept. Revelation 13 and 16. And it reads, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Now we know that's what it's coming down to. This financial collapse is leading to the implementation of the mark of the beast, which is that digital all. All right, you start to see Neuralink do a lot of put a lot of CHIPs in people's brains. What do you think that's going to lead to for you other Hebrew Israelite camps? But it clearly says here in Revelation 13 and 16 that there's going to be rich and poor. So the middle class is about to be finished. It pretty much is finished. Either you're rich or poor right now. A lot of people are just living this illusion. You got people that live in apartment complexes with six-figure vehicles, man. Okay? Just living an illusion. Just faking it till you make it. It says, according to a survey that was recently conducted at PNC Bank, which is a credible bank, 67% of United States workers are now living paycheck to paycheck. A growing share of United States workers are struggling to cover expenses as everyday costs continue to weigh heavily on household budgets, according to new survey findings. And what does that lead to? You got to make real life decisions. And a lot of people have been placed out of their homes. And then you had this guy on Fox News say the people that are in need of homes wandering the streets, he wants them to be put into the spirit world. All right? And there's certain laws in different states that you can't sleep in a park, you can't sleep here, you can't sleep here, you go to jail. Or in this case, they might take you somewhere else. It says PNC's Bank Annual Financial Wellness in the Workplace report shows that 67% of workers now say they are living paycheck to paycheck, up from 63% in 2024. The report surveyed 1,000 U.S. workers aged 21 to 69 who work full-time at companies with more than 100 workers. There are two very important points that I want to make about this survey. First of all, it only covers people that actually have a job, and word on the street is it's more harder and harder to find a job. All right. There are vast numbers of other Americans that are not employed and that are deeply struggling right now. So when you take that into account, this survey is even more shocking. Secondly, it is clear that we are rapidly moving in the wrong direction. It was bad enough that 63% of United States workers were living paycheck to paycheck last year, but now we are 67%. And get ready for 2026. That's man, we ain't even got out of this year, but you can kind of see 2026 is not. It's not gonna get any better. It's gonna get far worse, because that's prophesied in the Bible. You're either gonna be rich or you're gonna be poor. And for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man, there's not gonna be any generational wealth coming. You know, and you Jakes like to brag about these $100 bills, and you got all this cash. Cash is about to go digital. I don't know if they told you. We've been telling you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans about the mark of the beast. Hey, but before that, man, they're gonna get rid of these dollar bills. Now, the dollar, it got to go down with a fight, man. Still strong, man. All right, it's gonna take a minute. You start to see these other countries, just the dollar. You're gonna continue to see that. So continuing on. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get a preset, man. And what happens when these people get desperate, man? All right, let's go to Matthew 24 and 13, man. And then I was thinking about this one. That's why the scriptures say you got to be circumspect. So this is Matthew 24 and 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of money shall wax cold. All right. It's going to be more people just getting got for groceries out here. And I was starting to think that when I went to the grocery store today. I took a little bit, basically I took a little bit longer than what I should in the parking lot. And I'm thinking like, man, I was thinking to myself, hey, you got to be more quick on your feet, because you got to get in and get out, because hey, you're going to start to see that, man. You're going to start to see people, getting robbed over groceries, man. We coming into that time, man. You got to be circumspect, man. You're going to be seeing people doing these desperation acts out here in order to feed their children, feed their families. It's going to be more kick doors, more crime, all right, because of the lack of bread. Okay, the lack of money, the lack of resources. All right, especially the women, man. This ain't gonna be no lesson on the women, but just observing this year, I've seen a lot of evictions involve women. Okay, and they're saying the so-called black women is losing jobs at an exponential rate. Okay, and that's just the reality of it. I'm not gonna go into the whole woman thing, man, but the times are getting hard, man. So you got to be circumspect and watch these people. You got to watch your surrounding areas. You got to watch for funny cars, funny activity. These people are desperate, man. These people are already on edge. What happened with this guy in Utah? And then on top of that, their pockets is hurting. So, hey, this place is bound to implode, man. Or this place cannot be healed. Let's get another article. How's this place going to be healed when the debt clock looks like that? You can't fix that. You can't vote that away. That's how delusional these Babylonians are, man. We gonna vote. They'll threaten you to vote. You gonna vote. Next time you vote, won't you vote to reduce the United States national debt? Okay? Either you're rich or you're poor. A lot of our people, they just, I don't know what's going on with them, man. That's why, like I said, I don't take Jake seriously, man. When I see two of them walking down the street, I'm crossing the street. Especially they got dreadlocks and tattoos over their face, man. Alright, because Jake ain't gonna get it. You know, for the ones who are gonna get it, they're gonna get it, man. But the family of the word is coming. We're telling you, hey, man. We're telling you before this family comes, hey, look, man. This place is gonna collapse financially. And they're gonna bring that Revelation 13 and 16 as the solution. Man, the powers that be, the workers of iniquity, as they say in the scriptures, the ones who are really running this, they're collapsing from the inside out. So this is from Business Insider. And the Lord is putting the spirit on them to do that. The scriptures say man's goings is of the Lord. The former CEO of Goldman Sachs thinks that Babylon is due for a crisis and pinpoints the area of the markets he's most worried about. So it says the United States looks like it's due for some kind of economic event. Former Goldman CEO Lloyd Blankfein said the United States has typically seen a crisis every 4 to 5 years. He thinks that there could be trouble brewing in the U.S. credit market. The chief executive who led Goldman Sachs during one of the most turbulent periods in the history of markets thinks the United States economy may be due for a crisis. Lloyd Blankfein, the former CEO of Goldman Sachs, who helmed the bank during the great financial crisis, says he's watching for another big economic event to materialize. Historically, the United States has had the crisis of the century every 4 to 5 years, Blankfein told CNBC on Thursday, pointing to the quick succession of crises in the 1990s and early 2000s, like the sovereign debt crisis, the bursting of the dot-com bubble, and the subprime mortgage crisis. There's a lot of 1% risk, but it's not a 1% risk that something bad will happen, Blankfein said. I'm saying we're due, and it doesn't matter you can't see where it's coming from. Most people base case doesn't involve a full-blown financial crisis with stocks at all-time highs and the economy remaining generally resilient despite pockets of weakness. But there's one clue as to where the economy's next big problem could arise, and Blankstein's view credit markets. So you can read that on Business Insider. But this place cannot be healed, and one of the ways it's going to crumble is financially. All right. So the last precept I got. Well, matter of fact, I can go to. Well, I'll just close it out. But we've been prophesying of the downfall of this place. Matter of fact, let's go to all right, Ecclesiastes 12, of course. Of course. That's the one I wanted to get. Ecclesiastes 12 and 1. Remember God in your youth. Remember the Most High Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua before it's too late. Remember not thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not. So you better get this truth while you can, because the Christian pastor's not telling you about no economic crisis. And pretty soon these pastors are going to be struggling too. All these rappers and all these entertainers, they sit here and talk about how down bad you are and how up they are. They're going to be down. They're just going to be another person on the street when these evil days come. Then in these days to come, and these celebrities, man, they're going to be a bunch of has-beens, man, trying to save their own lives, so-called. Okay, they're going to be on the run. They're going to be targeted. So you Israelites, you better get this truth while you can, man. Well, the Bible talks about evil days are coming, okay? It's not going to be any sunny walks in the park. You're not going to get that from the Christian church, and you're not going to get that from these other Hebrew Israelite camps. You got Israelites going on cruise ships in these times, man. Not even knowing what time it is. But when these lights get shut out, all right, you ain't got no running water, you're going to know what time it is. The years draw nigh when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. When the sun or the light or the moon or the stars, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened or the clouds return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few. All right, there's going to be less and less opportunity, less and less jobs, and that's already happening right now. And those that look out the window shall be darkened. There's going to be some bad financial times. And like I said, when it comes to the women, man, you know what women resort to when the times get really, really bad. So be on the lookout for that as well. You're just going to see all types of more degenerate behavior, more pre-flood behavior, more desperation attacks, because the optimism is going to be at an all-time low, right? But the Lord, He has our best interest, man. He's going to protect us in these times. But at the same time, you know, you got to be circumspect. You got to watch your surroundings with these people. You know, me personally, I wouldn't get too friendly with these people, because these people are looking to hey, if it says here, I'm gonna just say this, you know, yeah, if it says 67% of people living paycheck to paycheck, people out here really scamming. And I wanted to say that. That's what I wanted to say. Look at this dumb woman, Texas Tech student who danced on. Yeah, look at that, man. That's just not. That's what the Spirit has been saying, man. Just be wise. You know, especially when it comes to these events that's coming up. So yeah, if 6-7% people living paycheck to paycheck, people are gonna get a lot more petty. All right, people are gonna try to get over on people. It's gonna be more people trying to put more scams, and it's the people we're talking about. Like I said, me personally, I wouldn't get too attached to these people. No new friends, as the rap song says. Yeah, no new friends, because these people are looking to capitalize over people's weakness out here. I mean, these people are savages, man. How should I be a sheep amongst wolves? These people are wolves, man. They're looking to tear somebody apart so they can feed their family, man. All right, optimism is at an all-time low, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grind is low. Yeah, it's gonna get real bad out here. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Yeah, the music is at an all-time low. The entertainment is at an all-time low. They're always trying to remake a movie, trying to remake a television series, so on and so forth. You know, in the NBA, they added an NBA Cup. Just trying to reinvent the wheel, man. But this place is going down, man. But these bread and circus is still, got these people caught up. So one more precept, just to close it on out. I think that's Ezekiel 7. So this place is gonna go out with a bang. All right, but before that, when I'm talking about bang, I'm talking about the intercontinental ballistic missiles. But this place is gonna get torn inside financially, and people have investments here, you know, and people count on that. And when these stock markets crash, yeah, you're gonna start to see these people crash out, man. I didn't mean to make that rhyme, but Ezekiel 7, and verses 5. Thus saith the Lord power. The Lord's name is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahweh Shai. And evil, which means bad times, and only evil, behold, is come. Yeah, we're in some bad times. It's not gonna get any better. We keep telling our people it's not gonna get any better. Trust in the Lord. Trust in His promises that He made to you as a people. No, I gotta get this money, son, man. Forget all that. Well, it says your money's not gonna save you in the scriptures. Maybe I just ended off on that. Because Jake is just stuck on this money. Gotta get the money, son. Gotta get the loot. Gotta get the dough. All right, what happens when they tell you, hey, you gotta put this in your hand or your forehead to get your money? You like money, right? They know you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans love money. And I'm gonna say this: there's nothing wrong with brothers having money, but the scriptures talk about, for the love of money is the root of all evil. So continuing on, it says, an end is come. The end is come. It watcheth for thee. Behold, it is come. We're at the end of Esau's age. And we know Esau irresponsible, for this financial platform. But at the end of the day, hey, the Lord's purpose and counsel is going to take over. So I'll just close out with that, and just be on the ready. Stay alert. We're the watchmen. Brother's going to do continual lessons about the economic situation. But hey, there's a separation between the rich and poor, and I don't live around rich people, so you gotta keep your head on the swivel out here and watch these folks. But all right, just more prophecy, and with that, I'm gonna say shalom.